lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and today I'm going to be talking about another horror book for the month of October. But that's not the only time you should watch this, not the only time you should read it. Anytime is a good time for a horror book, but it being October just gave me the incentive to talk more and more about horror and Halloween-themed books. So I'm choosing to talk about the Orchard Mythos, The Passageway. So this is the first project in the Orchard Mythos that Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino, along with Dave Stewart, have launched. I know that there's one more collection after this. There's another series that was in singles, which will be collected soon. But I only wanted to talk about the first one. I may or may not talk about the second book. Probably will at some point. Just don't know if it'll be this month. But wanted to kind of just talk about this. First of all, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino first saw their collaboration on the Green Arrow series during the New 52. It was probably one of my favorite things to come out of New 52 at DC, and one of my favorite Green Arrow stories. Phenomenal. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. Go pick it up. They also teamed up for Gideon Falls, which was another creator-owned book they did at Image. I believe it's 5 or 6 trades. Great series. To me, definitely has Stephen King vibes, Dark Tower vibes for sure. But one of my favorite things that both of them have done together, and one of my favorite Jeff Lemire books. So if you haven't read that, check that out too. But so they're teaming up to create this new world, or this new line that will not necessarily be connected, but it falls under this Orchard Mythos banner. So this was their first one. I think they had a free comic book day story that technically preceded it, but this was the first official book. And with Dave Stewart, too. I mean, he's one of the best colors. Steve Wan's on letters. And we open up with, first of all, Sorrentino's, art style is very abstract. I think it's, one of the most unique styles in comics. And we open in, the narration is, I saw my mother last night. She had that same look on her face, except for her eyes. Why were her eyes gone? What took them? I can't think about that. I can't think about what took her eyes. And you flip the passageway and it opens, and then we meet our character. He's on a boat. He's going over to this island with this lighthouse. He's going to inspect something that's going on over there. And he hates the water and he's scared shitless of it. It's well, you'll be on firm ground soon enough. So it's well, why is this a job you would do, right? And I love the angle of the overhead, and we get this look in on the lighthouse and this island, which is just solitary house. Even the guy driving was well, why would they send you if you're so scared? Couldn't somebody else come? And no, they sent me. I was the closest they had that could do it. He calls out to this Sal, and it ends up being this older woman who comes up, and she looks kind of creepy too, and she's gonna show him around. And he even says, is there some big secret? That's for Mr. Reed here to decide. And so he leaves. Again, I love the structure of it. I like how we have this view of them, then we have the front view, but down on the bottom is the rock of the mountain or of the island. So that's really interesting way to show it. As she's sitting there, I guess you'll want to see it. And he's yeah, I'd love to get it right. I'd love to get right to it while it's still light out. It's like I just told your boss, it just popped up. And then we get this overhead shot, and it's just this weird pit in the ground where he asks how deep it is and doesn't know. And then we see these birds circling overhead, what looks like a murder of crows. And usually when you see a murder of crows, that means a death is going to take place. She doesn't know how deep it is. She's I threw a few rocks down, but never heard them hit the bottom. He's well, how deep is it? And he's a geologist, so he's I don't know that this is necessarily safe. This island can't be stable. And after he throws the rock, doesn't hear anything. And so, he wants to unload his gear. And then we get this. I love this composition of getting the crows flying. And then within it, we get this shadow, this, you don't know who that is. Aren't you coming? And then we realize this is a flashback or a dream of John, who's the geologist that we've been following, and this is his mother asking him to come into the water, and she drowns. And then we get this inversion of now it's white here, black here. And he's going to send this drone down to figure out what's going on. that he realizes, like, she says she doesn't leave the island, and she hasn't left in 25 years. That's fucking creepy. Like, that should be a red flag, dude. Get the fuck out of there. He's like, all right, let's go see what we're dealing with. He sends the drone down, and then he stops hearing the sound of it. Hundreds of feet that it goes down, or is the range. It just keeps going lower and lower, and then I love this. I love how he does it. He did that a lot in Green Arrow, and I love that technique of it. You just, like, the different rings and the different things that are happening within those different planes of existence. And he sees something, and it's this, like, red shadow demon. He's like, what the fuck? And then you just see all these birds come out. He's obviously terrified, and it, goes back to this childhood memory that he had. He's like, did you see that? She's like, it's just birds, man. He's like, no, on the screen. And she's like, just saw black. So he doesn't know if he saw what he saw. This crow has these eyes. He freaked out, obviously, but it's not really what it seems. And so she's like, yeah, let's just go sit down for a minute. Cooks him some food. She's like, what do you do? She takes care of the light. But he's like, well, yeah, but it's not on. So she's like, well, I need to fix it. So they talk a little bit, that ends up being her brother. That was the one that dropped John off at the island. And, she's going to go to sleep. You sleep here. I sleep in the lighthouse. But as he's laying there, like he's drifting off, you see this like red, like centipede, like throughout. Super creepy. And, as he's like drifting off, he's got his dream. I love the way we're depicting the dream. The birds. We get the ball that he was playing with, the little boat with his name on it, his pail, his hat, and he's calling out for his mom. And you see this is like the eyes are out, and it's just super surreal what we're seeing. Like, and as he's kneeling, he's in water, and the eyeballs are just there. The cawing of the crows, putting the eyes in his head, and she's like drowning in the water. Just phenomenal storytelling here, and just like takes you in another direction by like having it such a surreal look into his brain and him waking up from it, and then you see Sal naked, staring, just fucking creepy as shit. This guy's not going back to sleep, right? Wake up the next morning, and he's looking for Sal, can't find her, and you see all these stairs going up, or he's looking up the stairs, going up, you see this like weird, like warped, like with a hole on the side. And Sal's not in bed. He leaves, and she's pissed that he was there. She's like, maybe you finish her or get the fuck out of here. And as he's kneeling over, she comes up behind him with a shovel. Boom, just right in the leg. Throws him down into the pit. And I love this, too, where it's just complete black, where it's almost like he's floating. Then he hits the ground, is overtaken by all these birds, which to me are not real. They're not there. It's just like a manifestation in his mind, and he's drowned by it. He goes back to that time with his mom, and then he walks through this like weird door light. Beyond the veil of the dusk lies the Lord of Death, sleeping under 10,000 black feathers. He walks through, and now he's like in some weird realm, like these statues, like just obviously walking. It to me is like he's walking into the realm of hell. Creepy as hell. The blood coming out of the stone. Obviously, he can't believe this is real, and then he sees this, which is supposed to be his mom, coming at him in just like this sea of blood. Oh my god, it's just crazy. And then he's like drowning and floating. He has his boat in his hand, just falling through this like ethereal like darkness. And now he's out in the water, swims back to shore, and sees Sal still hovering over where she threw him down. And as he tackles her, and she just says, I'm trying to fix the light. Something else happens, man. Now, the brother comes back with the axe right in the back. She throws herself in. He goes in after her. And as he's laying there bloody, he opens his hand, and like the boat is in his hand. So that's a trip too. And he like drags himself over to the edge, falls back into the water. And now we're back in this like dreamscape where he's seeing his mom, which to me is like him, he's dying and he's going into he's going into heaven, I would imagine, because I don't think he's a bad person. And then we leave off and we just zoom out of this pit. And that's how it ends. Such a great book. Like I said, Gideon Falls, 6 volumes, right? And then they have the hardcover, I believe, for the first half of the book. But such a great story. Pick this up. Anything that these creators do is phenomenal. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. Check out the rest of the Halloween playlist. On that note, I'm out.